Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Friday, August 29th, 10:30 at night, and this is our daily recap video for YieldMax funds, Ulti, the Ultra Option Income Strategy Fund, and SLTY, the Ultra Short Option Income Strategy Fund. Reminder, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1. I post all things related to the videos and funds that I cover. Before we get into the trades and holdings, we've got a couple of big thank yous to shout out. First to Mig's Room, $4.99 super chat in yesterday's Ulti video. We were talking and he said, "What it do?" But thank you very much. And if you're not already, you can go over and check out Mig's Room. He's got a dividends on repeat is Mig's channel and Side Income Dad. They do lots of videos, I wouldn't say similar to mine, same topic, but they give estimates and they do talks and talk about their dividend funds and what they're doing with their money and how they're making out. So it's pretty neat. It's a nice conversation as opposed to me just a one-way talking your ear off. But so that was the first thank you, and then the next went to Chasten Graham, who out of nowhere blew the doors off. LFGY video was coming to an end. Dad joke was already over. Must have been the funniest one he's ever heard. Just kidding. He said, "Thank you for the hard work. It's very much appreciated. I'm not currently holding LFGY, but I am holding Ulti." So Chasten, thank you so much. $50. That's unreal. That's definitely the new record too. So Chasten Graham is the record holder. All right. Sorry for how late this is coming out. If you didn't see, I posted on Twitter or on X and on YouTube that went with my family to, it was Hershey Park, amusement park, somewhat close to us, 2 hours away. Kind of last fun hurrah before back to school. So now I've got that late night voice. I got water with me to try and work against that, but sorry for how late the video is coming out. I'm going to try and get through this nice and quickly. So we'll start with Ulti. Ulti Underdogs, everybody's favorite. And we do have some changes in our holdings. So if you saw on the thumbnail, right, we added EchoStar Corporation. This is my first day ever hearing of them. And then we sold out of Marvell, Bitmine Immersion, and Galaxy Digital. And we just kind of trimmed our holding on Affirm. They're up pretty big, so nice to take a little profit. They were getting to be pretty heavily weighted in our fund. All right, next we've got our options trades. It's Friday, so everything that hadn't been closed out prior to today needed to get closed out today. So that's going to be a whole lot of what we're doing. We're not going to dig super deep on these because it's 10:40 at night, and 2, we've got our deep dive coming up on Sunday where we really get a look at it. So we're also not highlighting the close and rolls because we're not going to be talking about the options on the holdings page. We're just going to talk about the shares and the value increases and decreases. So all right, so Affirm, we'll start right off the bat. Affirm had a big day today, blew through our strikes, and cost $15.3 million to close these August 29th calls out and roll them to September 5th. We went up by $10 on some of them and $14 on others, so we definitely had to bump up our strikes. Obviously, our protective puts were not needed in this case and didn't bring in a ton of money. But let's see, we did actually have some. Okay, so they played this fairly smart. So we had 13,000 purchased calls at 95. So in the event that the stock ran past these 83s and 86s, we were going to get a little bit back, and that's exactly what we did. So selling those brought in $2.7 million, but big picture, cost $15.3 million to close and roll to next week. App Lovin', we brought in a credit of $1 million, closing out for this Friday, rolling the next Friday, increasing the strike by $10. AST Space Mobile brought in another $1 million, closing for this week. See, we're paying 9 and 15 cents, collecting $1.22 and 82 cents, rolling out to next week. Let's see what we did with our puts. We had 42s and 45.50s. Now we've got 42.50s and 43s. So kind of staying in the same range. Bitmine Immersion brought in another $1 million, closing and rolling to next week, increasing our strike too, and that's not bad if we're jumping from 48 to 51 and still making a profit on the close and roll. Only dropped our puts by $1. Webull brought in another 1.3 million. Starting to look like basically a firm is gonna ruin our day. We got a lot of good stuff going on though. Webull 1.3 million, closing and rolling. Everything from this Friday to next Friday. Some of the strikes are around the same. We're within 50 cents on all the strikes. Let's see. We had the 1350 puts did decent for us, bringing in 660,000. That's a good portion of that 1.3 million overall. Coinbase closing and rolling the next week, paying 3 cents to close them out. Gotta love it, especially when we get 2 of those cents back on the puts. Collecting 428, selling for next week. We did drop the strike, so that was by 250, and we dropped our puts by $5. 1.5 million collected. Galaxy Digital, this one hurt, down, cost us $3 million to close and roll to next week. No, not close and roll to next week. Okay, so we sold all our shares of Galaxy. We're gonna double check that real quick. Yeah, that's 1.5 million shares. That's what we owned. 1.5. But we did bring in a little bit of money, whereas we weren't just buying to close everything out. We also started a put spread on it, even though we don't own any shares anymore. So that helped bring in some money to make that not be even worse. That brought in almost $6 million. But overall, it cost us $3 million to close out. Robinhood brought in 172,000 on the close and roll to next week. This was just what was left, paying 2 cents, collecting 6 from the puts. So that's a net positive for us. And then selling our new calls for $1.76, buying puts for 69 cents. Let's see, we dropped our strike on those short calls by $3. IonQ, closing and rolling the next week, 41.50s. That cost us some money. Paying $1.14, only collecting $1 on the new sale, but we did increase it up to 44s, 276,000. We also locked in a higher price, moving our strikes up on our puts from 36 to 38. Marvell Technology, we sold out of our shares and we're closing out. And we bought to close our calls for a penny, and we sold those protective puts for $5.51, or over $6 million. So there's your puts helping. Otherwise, just the drop in Marvell would have hurt a lot worse. So $6 million credit. Nebius Group closing and rolling the next week resulted in a $1.7 million. Closing 69s and 71s, selling all 71s for next week. Oklo brought in $828,000, closing these 74s and 79s and selling 77s, so kind of in the middle. 828,000. Palantir, almost $1 million, 981,000. Closing out 157.50s, 160s, and 162.50s. Paying change for all of them. Selling all 160s for next week. $2, roughly $2.20, $2.40. Let's see, we bought our puts in the 140 to 142. where we were 138 to 140. So we're just slowly locking in that higher price. Reddit closing those 225s, selling 227.50s. Nice difference, $3.50 difference, 257,000 collected. Rigetti closing and rolling the next week, buying the 16s, selling the 17s. $250,000 debit, that one cost us. Rocket Lab brought in 1.1 million, closing and rolling the next week. The 47s were kind of expensive to close, 76 cents, but the 49.50s were a nickel. We collected $1.11 and $1.80, selling 48s and 50s. Sats, that's that Echo Star, the new one we just added. So since we bought shares, we're going to sell calls and buy puts for our collar strategy. $766,000 credit. SMCI, buying to close those 44.50, selling 43. So we dropped our strike, moved it out a week, resulted in 870,000 credit. New Scale Power, we brought in $1.5 million on the close and roll to next week, paying anywhere from 3 to 16 cents to close out those calls and collecting 67 and 71 cents. Sorry, my dog, happy to see me, just hanging out with me. What'd we do? We put our strikes kind of right in between last week. So it's closing 35.50s and 37s and selling all 36.50s. Some of our puts brought in a little bit of money. Basically, puts brought in enough to pay to close out the calls. Tesla brought in $957,000, closing those 355s, selling 345s for next week, closing them out for a penny. That's nice. Unity Software brought us a credit of $1.5 million as well, closing out. I believe I'm not even gonna check. 41.50s, paying anywhere from 3 to 13 cents, depending on what time of the day they did it. Selling 40.50, so we dropped our strike, bringing in 70s, 73 to 77 cents. Brought in a little bit of money here with these protective puts, more than enough to pay to close out the calls. So Ulta Beauty, we just closed out that calendar spread, resulted in a $308,000 credit. So probably watch tomorrow on Spaces. We'll talk about how that one made out. I say watch, it's kind of more like listen. Upstart cost us $2.6 million on that close and roll. Closing the 72s, selling 77s for next week. $2.6 million cost. So all in all, we actually did make a profit. I forgot. Okay. So Affirm did not ruin our day completely. We ended up in the positive on the trading day for options, $1.6 million. As you can see, we're going to have a negative on our values. So we'll go over to the holdings to look at what that is. Again, if you're familiar with the video, you'll usually see orange here next to anywhere where we closed and rolled. But it's Friday, and on Fridays we don't take that time because we're not going to talk about these options. We'll talk about them on Sunday. So Affirm was the big winner today, up 10.5%. That increased our value by $17.5 million. Gotta love that. App Lovin' down a little over 1%, dropped our value by $1.9 million. AST Space Mobile down a fraction. What was it? 1 penny to be exact. No real impact. $34,000 on a $3 billion fund. Bitmine Immersion, we sold our shares. We don't care. We're done with this one. Webull down 7.36, so that hurt. 7.36%, $6.5 million. Again, everything here, anything with the August 29th has now been closed and rolled, and the new holdings download will show on the next video. Coinbase down 1.27%, or 1.8 million. I don't know if I said Webull was a decrease of 6.5 million. Now these aren't true losses because we didn't, if we didn't sell the shares, this is just changes in market value. Credo Technology Group. Actually, let's scroll back. We like to do this. Bitmine closed at 43.62. Let's see if we sold it at a better point than that. Bitmine 44s and 45, so we did. They did a good job. They sold at a better price than where it closed. Where were we? Credo down 6.65% or $8.5 million. CoreWeave up about 0.25%, 200,000. Oh, Galaxy. Oh, sorry. Down 4.1%. Let's go see if we'd made out better than that closing price of $23.49. $23.78. We did. So good job. If we're going to get out today, we got out at a better point than the end. Robinhood up 0.33%, $500,000 value increase. IonQ down 1.29%, or $2.2 million. Marvell Technology was the big loser today, down 18.6% or $15.8 million. Again, let's go see if we made out better than the closing. Yep, 62.87 is where it closed. 64.50 is what we sold it for. So that difference is going to mean we didn't actually drop 15.8 million. We dropped less than that. Nebius Group down 5.1% or $8.5 million. Oklo down 5.5% or $9.6 million. Palantir down 0.89% or $1 million. Reddit down 0.2% or $200,000. Rigetti down 2.1% or $3.5 million. Rocket Lab up 1.4% or $2.5 million. SMCI down 5.5% or $6 million. NewScale Power down 5% or $6.8 million. Tesla down 3.5% or $3.5 million. Unity Software down 1.89% or $2.6 million. Ulta Beauty dropped pretty big here on the last day, 492. We don't really have a way to know what the share price was at when we closed out the option. We sold a call, bought a call. So yesterday, if we'd have closed these 527.50s, we'd have had to pay $19.95 for them. Let's see what we paid. $1.76. So not bad. So there was only a 85-cent difference between them yesterday, and we actually were able to take advantage of what's at a $2.20 difference. So that worked out well for us, at least on the last day. We'll have to go back and do some more crunching to find out if it was an overall winning trade. Upstart was down 0.6% or $1.1 million, and that all resulted in a $64.8 million drop in value. All right, net assets or assets under management just under 3.2 billion. Yesterday, 2.4 million new shares were bought. New money coming into the fund, bringing us up to 556,300,000 outstanding shares. Our NAV when the day started was 574. Obviously, we went down today. I picked up some shares. I don't remember if I got them at 567 or 568. And our most recent distribution, which was today, was about 9.5 cents. So as long as you had shares yesterday, Thursday, and you purchased them prior to Thursday, you picked up 9.5 cents per share today. And that's what I did. I put mine to work and bought some more. All right, next we're going to go to SLTY. Start off with the trades. For starters, we're done with Dell, but since we start out by selling short the shares, then we have to buy to close to be done with them. So we bought to close our Dell shares. And we sold Tempest AI. If you've been watching Ulti videos, Tempest AI has been in Ulti here and there. So we're shorting them now in SLTY. Collected the money for that. Now it is again Friday, so we're closing and rolling. They do a reverse collar strategy, so they sell puts on those shorted shares and to generate income, and they buy calls or to protect in the event the stock goes up. Because if we're shorting them, we want the stock to go down. So Bloom Energy closing and rolling resulted in a $16,000 credit. Dell, this is just a closeout. Generally, you're going to be paying money when you're just closing out because you're not selling the strategy into the next week. So that was $11,000 loss. Enphase Energy brought in $4,000 on the close and roll to next week. Let's see, we bought the close those. I think they're a $36.50 fund. Kept the strike the same either way, whatever they are. Lululemon brought in $4,800 on the close and roll. We lowered the puts by $2.50. Mara Holdings close and roll brought in $5,600, paying a penny to close them out, but collecting a penny on those insurance policies. So it was basically free to close out the old strategy, and we brought in a net of 22 cents per share. 256 contracts, 100 shares per contract. MicroStrategy, or Strategy now, cost us $4,400 to close and roll. So they went down beyond our sold put. So that's why it cost us so much to close it out. But we got a lot of it back selling the new puts. The only problem was insurance policies cost a decent amount as well. RH cost us $2,000 on the close and roll. Yeah, it was those 232.50s. Cost us $589. We're only bringing in $410 on the new sale. Tempest AI, this is the new stock added to the fund. So we shorted 5,300 shares. So we're going to have 53 contracts that we can trade. Sold our puts, bought our calls, brought in $2,800. And finally, Ulta Beauty. We closed out that calendar spread. This was basically the opposite direction of the one that we did over in Ulti. So let's see, there was about $1.42 difference between them. What was the difference yesterday? $1.35. So I don't know that that's going to be a win, but all in all trading, since we started right from the start on SLTY, we include the trades as well, especially since we start out by shorting shares. That's really trading as well. $54,000 credit on the trading day. We had an increase in value of the fund as well, of over 100. And we'll take a look at how we got there. Astera Labs dropped 3.6%. So if we shorted the shares when they go down, it actually helps us. So that's increased our value by 15,000. Applied Digital was down 3.6. I don't know why. Oh, it's not sitting right. Didn't know why I couldn't see the whole page. Applied Digital 3.7% decrease resulted in a $16,000 increase in value. Another $16,000 coming in increase off of Bloom Energy's 3.3% drop. Another $16,000, almost 17 coming in. Not coming in. This isn't money coming in. This is just increases in value. After Bitmine Immersion dropped 4.28%. Bitdeer was the big increaser over here. I wouldn't call it winner though, because when stocks go up and you shorted them, they drop your value, almost 18,000. Circle Internet Group up 0.79%, so that dropped our value by 3,000. Dell Technology, this was the biggest decreaser for the day, so that's going to increase our value, 8.88%. Let's take a look at where we traded it though to get out of it. Buying it, did we buy it for $122.15 or a better price? we bought it for $120, so $121.20. So we actually did even better than where it closed as far as increasing our value. Enphase Energy up 1/3%, dropped our value by 1,200. GitLab dropped a little over 2%, so that helped our value go up by 9,000. Lululemon down 1.4%, increased our value by 5,000. Mara Holdings just a slight increase, up 2 cents, only dropped our value by 500. Strategy was down 1.3%, increased our value by 4,800, and RH was down 1.5%, increasing our value by 6,000. That's it for shares that we owned, but there was that calendar spread, put spread on Ulta Beauty. Ulta dropped big today. That took those those puts in the money. Didn't change our overall value of our fund other than the options trading itself, so because we don't have shares. So all of that is how we came up with an increase of 103,000. Our assets under management just over 6 million. Outstanding shares still 125,000. So we're not really seeing people buying into this fund yet. This has been unchanged day after day. Our NAV at the start of the day was 48.12, but we actually increased in value today because things were going down. So SLTY ended at 48.66, and I believe it took a nice jump in the after hours as well. It did another 1.6%. So this has been doing this a lot. It jumps in the after hours. So back within 55 cents of its opening, its official opening last week. Okay, that's all I've got for you. Get this video out and get to bed. It's 11 o'clock at night, so I got a dad joke before I do. Just thank you, everybody. Sorry for the late video, but I mean, you guys know it anyway. Family comes first. So trying to get a little bit of fun in before summer's officially over. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching. Likes, comments, shares. I appreciate it all. I'll try to get back to you. And I definitely read every comment. So, okay, dad joke of the day. What do you call a beehive without an exit? Unbelievable. I didn't think that one was that funny when I read it, but maybe I'm just tired. Okay. Watch out for my personal trading video tomorrow, Saturday, and then the payment distribution guesstimates and deep dive week look aheads on Sunday. But before that, Saturday morning, we do have where is it? Ambassador of Quan and Parabolic Nurse hosting myself, ETF Delta, and Max Convexity. Of course, I can't find it. Here's Ambassador Quan. He'll have it posted. He's posted it multiple times. This Saturday, we're back. IV Playbook, Ulti. Talking about everything Ulti. We'll throw in some Ulti as well. That'll be 9:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. All right, that's it. Good night, and have a nice weekend.